On my table today is a company that once had the entire internet in the palm of its hand. It could have owned Google, and later it could have owned Facebook, and it walked away from both. At its peak, it was worth more than $125 billion, the front door to the whole web. In the end, it sold for scraps, less than 1/28th of that number. But here is the strange part, and the reason we are doing this post-mortem, nothing killed it, because it kept killing itself. Let us establish the time of birth first, because every autopsy needs one. The year is 1994, and two Stanford graduate students named Jerry Yang and David Philo are supposed to be writing their dissertations. Instead, they are building a list of their favorite websites, because in 1994, the web is small enough that a list is actually useful. They call it Jerry and David's Guide to the World Wide Web, which is not a name built to last. So they rename it Yahoo, and the internet, briefly, has a table of contents. You have to understand how empty the early web was to understand how big this becomes. There was no search bar you trusted, no obvious place to start, just the dark ocean of pages and no map. Yahoo was the map, a human-curated directory that told you where the good things lived. When you opened your browser in the late 90s, this is the page that loaded first. It was your email, your news, your stock ticker, your sports scores, your horoscope, all in one place. They did not just want to be a website, they wanted to be the website, the place you never had to leave. This is the portal strategy. And for a few glorious years, Yahoo was the best portal on earth. In January of 2000, at the very top of the dot-com bubble, the patient is at peak health. The market says Yahoo is worth over $125 billion. More than 250 million people are using it, which at the time is a staggering slice of everyone online. Jerry Yang is a celebrity, the company is a verb, and the future looks like it is theirs to lose. Write that phrase down, please, because it is going to become the cause of death. Theirs to lose. Now we reach the first wound, and it is a self-inflicted one. Back in 1998, two other Stanford students have built something in a garage. Their names are Larry Page and Sergey Brin, and their something is a search engine called Google. It is faster, cleaner, and dramatically better at actually finding what you asked for. The founders are not even sure they want to run a company, so they try to sell it. They offer Google to Yahoo for around $1 million. $1 million. Yahoo says no thank you because Yahoo does not really believe in search. Remember, Yahoo is a portal, and a portal wants you to stay, not to find your answer and leave. Good search was, in their logic, a way to lose the customer faster. So the deal dies, and Google grows up in the wild instead. Now skip forward to 2002, and the patient has a second chance. Yahoo's chief executive Terry Semel looks at Google again, and this time Google is not cheap. The reported price to buy Google is around $3 billion. Semel balks and counters with an offer of roughly $1 billion. Google looks at the $1 billion counter and simply walks away from the table. The very next year, Google's advertising revenue passes $1 billion all by itself. And in 2004, Google goes public at a valuation of around $23 billion. Let me say that arithmetic out loud, because it is the sound of a company bleeding. Yahoo could have had Google for $1 million, then for $3 billion, and paid neither. Within a couple of years, the thing they passed on was worth more than Yahoo itself. This is not a rival stealing the market. This is Yahoo handing over the keys and locking its own door behind it. You would think one miss like that would teach a lesson, and you would be wrong. Around 2006, a small college website is exploding across campuses. It is called Facebook, and its founder is a 20-something named Mark Zuckerberg. Yahoo reportedly offers to buy Facebook for about $1 billion. For a moment, the deal is close enough to feel real. Then Yahoo, being Yahoo, reportedly wobbles on the price, and Zuckerberg walks. Facebook, of course, goes on to become worth hundreds of billions of dollars. So now the coroner's notes read two entries in the same handwriting. Passed on Google, passed on Facebook. The two companies that would define the next 20 years of the internet, both offered, both refused. But the fatal wound, the one this autopsy will circle in red, comes in 2008. By now, everyone can see Yahoo is slipping, and one very large predator smells it. Microsoft, desperate to compete with Google in search, makes a bid for the whole company. The offer on the table is $44.6 billion. That is a premium, a rescue, a golden parachute with the ripcord already pulled. Jerry Yang, back as chief executive, decides the offer undervalues his company. He believes Yahoo is worth more, and he says no. He says no to $44.6 billion. The stock price would never come anywhere close to that number again. Not the next year, not the next decade, not ever. In one meeting, Yahoo turned down more money than it would be worth for the rest of its life. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the moment of clinical death, even if the body kept twitching for years. After the Microsoft projection, what follows is not a heart attack. It is a long decline. The board that said no to $44 billion now has to explain why the stock keeps falling. Jerry Yang steps down, and the search for a savior begins. Over the next several years, Yahoo cycles through chief executives like a hospital, changes bed sheets. Each new leader announces a bold new vision, and each vision quietly flatlines. The most famous of them is Marissa Mayer, a star recruited straight from Google in 2012. She is smart, she is celebrated, and she spends billions trying to make Yahoo matter again. She buys the blogging platform Tumblr for over $1 billion and writes most of it off later. The company acquires dozens of small startups and shuts most of them down. Meanwhile, the actual business, the ads, the portal, the search, keeps shrinking underneath her. And then come the breaches, which are the part where the patient's own records betray it. Yahoo suffers two enormous data breaches, disclosed to the public in 2016. Together, they affect billions of user accounts, making them among the largest breaches in history. The timing could not be worse, because by now Yahoo is trying to sell itself. A buyer does not love discovering the merchandise has been quietly leaking for years. The breaches knock roughly $350 million off the final sale price. Even in death, Yahoo found a new way to lose money. It did not have to lose. The great irony sits quietly on the balance sheet the whole time. Years earlier, Yahoo had bought a stake in a small Chinese company called Alibaba. That passive investment, a thing Yahoo barely had to do anything with, ends up worth far more than Yahoo's entire operating business. The company famous for the internet was, financially, mostly a holding pen for someone else's stock. So we arrive at June of 2017, and it is time to sign the certificate. Yahoo sells its core internet business, the email, the portal, the search, the name itself, to Verizon. The price is $4.48 billion. Remember our peak number, over $125 billion. This sale is roughly 1/28 of what the company was once worth. The front door of the internet went for less than the price of a mid-size acquisition it once would have made on a whim. And so we close the chest and state the cause of death for the record. It was not Google, and it was not Facebook, and it was not even Microsoft. The cause of death was chronic indecision, a serial, almost pathological failure to buy the future or sell at the top. Yahoo saw Google and hesitated, saw Facebook and hesitated, saw a $44 billion ed exit and hesitated. Every door was open, and it stood in the hallway until every single one closed. This body did not fall to a killer, it simply refused, again and again, to save its own life. The chart is complete, the tag is on the toe, and Yahoo is filed under self-inflicted. If you enjoy watching giants explain, in hindsight, exactly how they buried themselves, subscribe, because there is always another body on the table.